Um, I just want to explain a little bit where I come from. I'm from the Tupper building, and the department I'm in, or was in, was called the Department of Anatomy and Neurobiology. So, but actually, we've just changed our name. So if you're looking for me online, we're now in the Department of Medical Neuroscience. And today I'm going to talk a little bit because it's called medical neuroscience, I guess, because we're all interested in neurobiology and anatomy because we teach anatomy. So, but now we're all neuroscientists, and it just goes without saying we still teach anatomy. So today what I'm going to do with respect to anatomy is I'm going to use my course as a model for what I've experimented in trying to reach students beyond face-to-face lecturing. So I called it the Anatomy of a Blended Anatomy course. It goes without saying that I think that everyone is in this room to accept the fact that education is changing, and it's changing dramatically. It's changing with respect to the type of students we have in our class, the variety of learning outcomes that they need. I've got students that are first-year students, and I have students that have 3 degrees in their belt sitting in front of me in class. So there's quite a diverse group of students I'm trying to reach. These students all have a variety of learning styles. Some of them work with a pencil and paper, and then most of them are sitting there with their iPads and their MacBooks and stuff. So I have to deal with those kinds of avenues of communication. The enrollment's gone up considerably. I'm not sure if the university will agree with this, but I think that when I went to school, very few people could afford to go to university, and these days everybody's going, it seems, and people are going with it. I think the stats are out there that people with a university education are definitely in a higher income bracket than the ones that don't, so I think that drives a lot of it. And it goes without saying that there's lots of stuff out there we can use to teach these guys, teach our students. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is some of the tools that I've adapted or adopted into my course. So, so how do we respond to the learning issues that I've just listed there? So there's several things or ways that I've looked at approach to do this. Is that we can adapt or adopt new innovative teaching styles. And one thing I really enjoy doing is teaching. So to me, it's not just getting up in front of a class and rhyming off stuff in front of the PowerPoint, which I'm doing right now. I do like to talk to them, and I do like to make stuff relevant, and I like to use whatever I can come up with as far as reaching them. And I consider teaching as like is entertainment value there, that you have to get their attention, and there's ways to get their attention is by being somewhat humorous, if you will. Also, it's like a video game, is that you if they lose interest in whatever you're trying to talk to them and stuff like that, you lose them. So I think it's our role as educators is to it's not just a matter of teaching practice, it's a matter of many different factors there in trying to reach our students. So experiment with new and emerging instructional technologies. What I'm getting at here is that there's look, if you go online, you look up teaching tools and stuff like this. There's pages and pages and stuff like out there. Not all of it works. Not all of it would be appropriate for what you're trying to teach. So the way to get through that is to look at them, think about them, try them. I suggest that keep it real simple. Start off with one thing and experiment with it. And I'll show you sort of a little progression that I went through in my course in the next ensuing slides there. So there's a lot of, I'm old school. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've done in my class, thanks to Adrian and Aaron, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I've had a lot of technical help, and so that don't attempt these things on your own. There's people and resources out there that will definitely get you off the launch pad. And also, when I first started teaching, we had a certain amount of material we had to cover, and you just went and did it, sort of thing. Well, I think that depending on what programs you're in and what schools you're in, you need a little bit of flexibility in what you teach and how you teach it. So curricula changes have to adapt to the new technologies. Okay, so a little bit of history here is that in the beginning, when I took over my course, it was about 20 years ago or so, It was a basic human anatomy course. It was a a foundation course for students there. Our thing about medicine, all the health professions, nursing, dental hygiene, that kind of thing. And I started out with a hardcover text and teaching from overheads. And the reason why I used overheads is so I could write on them, and it would slow me down enough so that they could actually take notes and make sense of what I was trying to talk about. But and then I progressed. The big progression was I went to PowerPoints and stuff like that. But anyway, so after teaching for a couple years in this course, it was my enrollment was 185 students, and that's because that's how big Theater A would hold. There was that many seats. And a lot of students would be fighting to get in, and there'd be lineups or waiting lists and stuff like that. So I sort of took the giant leap back then, that was like 17 years ago, to create what's called a distance or online anatomy course. And the reason for that, I have a bunch of slides I'm not going to go through today, not enough time. But to accommodate students that couldn't get into the class, to accommodate students that were like nurses that were working still and they wanted to upgrade so they could keep on working, people could stay at home, raise families and take courses, people that weren't in the region, weren't in the Halifax area that couldn't make that kind of trip here to take a course sort of thing. So for a lot of reasons, I wanted to do this. So my department head gave me a complete freedom to go ahead and structure this thing any way I wanted, and so I built it. I just built it from scratch. Basically what I did was I wrote a study guide, and I think that all students need structure. So the structure answers the question, what do I need to know? So the textbook is this thick. We don't cover all that detail, so I built a study guide that was just a sort of a detailed study objectives of what I expect to learn from each chapter. And printed off, spiral bound, and that went off in a little mail out to the distance students. And in addition to that, I had what are called module review questions for each chapter, and they'd write out the answers to these things or make diagrams or drawings and stuff like that, and they got extra points for doing that. That was my way of ensuring that they were actually carrying out stuff as well as just writing exams, and they got marks for doing that. Started off with an enrollment of 18 students, and today, or actually this morning, I went on. I don't know how many students I have in my course right now. I'm teaching. I just started a course in January, my winter term online course, and I usually it's around 200 students take this course, and I do teach it the same course in September, the fall term, as an online course, and I had 235 students take it then by distance. Plus, I had 185 students in my in-house course that I teach, my face-to-face course. And 450 students are registered right now taking my course. I just got back from the Caribbean. I was down there to a medical school teaching a histology course there as a guest lecturer. I'm still teaching my 450 students when I'm down in the Caribbean doing my histology course, all online. So it's very flexible that way as far as you can do it anywhere. So one of the good reasons about online. Okay, so anyway, so you have an idea of managing numbers. You were talking like you have 250 students. You were saying something like that, or was it someone that had 200 students? Yeah, that's right too. Yeah, so numbers don't matter, and I have like pressures come down from the dean or from other schools saying we want to increase enrollment, and my department comes to me and says, can you take more enrollment? Sure, unlimited enrollment in an online course. Right? I don't need seats. I don't need bums and seats to teach this course. They take it at home. Okay, so why is this course gone from 18 students to 450 this term? Actually, you want to know some more numbers. I did my total enrollment this year, 1,042 students I teach this year in this course. All by myself. No one assists me. I do all my marking. I do all the preparation for this course, all the administration, all the emails, everything by myself. Zero support. So I created the reason why I'm telling you about the online course is because it evolved to a point where all my in-house students wanted it. They wanted to take part in this as well. So this is what I did. So the course is totally paperless. Only paper that takes place in this course is they go to the bookstore and they buy an access code to resource, the electronic text, and an online study center. That's the only thing, a small slip of paper with some numbers on it that they register for. I used to have, with the study guide, I used to have that mail out, the spiral bound mail out. I'd fill a room with those are boxes that, you know, the photocopy paper comes in. I would fill a whole room with these. The secretaries in the office would help me package them to mail out to the distance students. So I quickly just outgrew that sort of thing. Stop killing trees. Okay, so now what I do is I do PowerPoints. So everybody does PowerPoints these days, and it supports what I'm trying to get across to them in the study guide. All of this is on Blackboard or AL, depending on whatever you feel like calling it. Whily Plus. Okay, this is the online structure that I have. Whily represents the book company that I deal with, Whily and Sons, and Whily Plus is this product that they produced. It's a book plus. Okay, and all it is, I've got some examples. All it is an online study center where the students register to get into and they can buy an access code for $70, or they can buy, which comes with an e-text, or they can buy a hardcover text that comes with the access code for $140. Right, so it's cheaper just to go with the e-text. The only problem with it is that after the course is over, it all disappears. It's not something they can go back and look at, sort of thing. So I'll show you a little bit more about the study resources on Whily in the next couple of slides. Also, I have an anatomy lab. So with cutbacks in education and stuff like that, the labs are being cut back, stuff like that. So I created my own virtual anatomy lab, and all I did there, this is where I sort of, if you can't find the tools out there to buy to use in your course, or you just can't find the most appropriate tools, I created my own. So I got a video camera, went in the lab, and dissected a cadaver, videotaped it all, took it home, got a computer, learned how to run a computer program, did all the editing, put in my own text, my own labeling, and built learning resources around that. Where the students have to go in after they view the video, they have to go in, label diagrams, they have to write out answers to questions, and all this sort of. This is what my virtual lab is. Anatomy blog. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of stuff about social media and stuff like this, but I like to ask questions in class that there's no answer to. For instance, I teach the parts of the brain, so the pathways of the brain. For instance, motor control. This side of my brain controls this side of my body. Or all the sensory information coming up from the body comes up from this side, crosses to that side, or this one crosses to this side. So it's really interesting that brain pathways cross on their way to the targets, to the muscles that they innervate, or the sensory feedback coming back to the brain. And I ask students in class, why? Why have a cross pathway? Why doesn't this part of the brain control this part of the body? And if you go to any text, there's no real clear answer. So I tell them, I create these questions in class, or I do it for my online students on a blog on the course website, and they have to go research this stuff. They go online, they look up this stuff, and so they learn from that. And I have another slide to go on and show how that works later. And then communication is key. So for students that are taking this either in face-to-face or at a distance, I have a discussion board which comes on all Blackboards. Things have a discussion board, and email. I don't do real-time communication with my distance students. If I have 450 students online trying to communicate at the same time, it's just a nightmare. So everything I do with the distance students is asynchronous. Okay, Whily Plus, what is it? It's an online study supplement with electronic text. It has an enormous amount of audio, visual, interactive, animation, quizzes that they can do. And all this stuff you can go in and tailor. You can go in and say, I don't like this, I want to expand on this and stuff like that. And what I've done is set up weekly assignments for them to do. I have another slide. I'm getting ahead of myself here. What else does this do? So yeah, it's customizable. There's one thing with Whily I like. It's called what I call immediate feedback learning. So when they're doing their quizzes, when they attempt the quiz, if they don't get it right, it tells them right away. There's a link to text. Click on it. Takes you to the electronic text to that area that I'm quizzing them on. They can read the information, learn it, go back and re-answer the question. So I give them 2 chances to answer it, and so they learn from that. And Whily also comes, of course, with a great book. So all this is marked for me online, and I have a picture of the great book. I'll show you in a sec. So okay, the Whily Plus assignments. In addition to what it's called read, study, practice, in addition to the read, study, practice, which is all the stuff that's in the resource that the online center has, there's so much information there that actually if you don't give students direction, if you don't reward them for doing something, they'll sort of, I think they'll ignore it. Okay, well, most of them will. Some industry students will research it or search it all out, but a lot of them will say, what do I need to do to get through this course? So I have reading assignments that directs them to the parts of the text that I'm trying to teach from. I have weekly assignments. I tried doing it like assignments that were due at the exam times, and I found they'd always wait to the day before the exams and try to do them all at once. So now what I have is what I do homework. A lot of schools, you hear about secondary education, whatever, they're trying to cut back on homework. I introduce homework. I like a weekly progression of learning material rather than waiting until the night before to cram for that. It really works, and I think the students the feedback I'm getting, they really like it. So these assignments are, they're like there's 8 or 10 questions per topic and stuff like that, and it all has to be done by Sunday night. If it's not done, the program automatically slashes 50% of their marks away. So late penalty if they don't get if they're not done in time. The second chance to answer the question, I'll show you that in a sec. And over the period, mine's a half credit course, so in that term, that term that I'm teaching this course, the Whily Plus assignments amount to over 300 questions they have to do for that thing. So it's a lot of work, and it acts as a really good review for exams, so they can go back and redo these things. And they get, depending on how many if they get right out of the 300 or so questions, it adds up to, I started off with 10% of their mark, and now I have up to 20% of the grade for doing this thing. So they have to be rewarded for doing this stuff. Here's just an example of a page from the Whily website. And just to give you an idea of the wealth of information, I'm not trying to sell Whily here, so don't get me wrong here, this sort of thing. This is what the book rep came to me 15 years ago and said, we have this product you might find interesting. I looked at it, loved it. So, but actually, as a matter of fact, before I finish this talk today, I'm dumping it this year. I'm going to something new. I'll explain why in a sec. Okay. So anyway, so here, this is an example of probably, and not only Whily has this, Pearson company has it, McGraw-Hill has it as well. A lot of them have these online resource centers. So whatever course you're teaching, you can find, and if your textbook you're using right now does not have online study tools, I would suggest get a different text. Okay, so here you can see this is the test bank. So they have all these questions in here. They're graded hard, medium, easy, multiple choice, different types you can have. And this is page 1, 20 pages of questions just for this particular topic on nervous tissue. So again, the hardest part of setting this thing up is going through it, screening through all these things, and finding out what is relevant to your class and what isn't relevant. Okay, so you have to do your homework, and once you're done, every time you turn the course over every year, you can just reboot it and bring it up, and just change the dates for when they're due. So once you've done your initial stuff, it's pretty easy. This is a typical question. So from the test bank, you can have pre-lecture questions or test bank questions. And so here's the question here. It doesn't matter what it is, but anyway, once they click on it and submit their answer, it'll come up and say little green arrow correct or black X incorrect. If they get that, they click on this little blue box here. For those in the back, you can't see it. It says link to text. And this is a beautiful thing. What I like about this program is that some of them may not have done any homework at all. They're just saying, I got to do my assignment. So they're coming up to this question, I'll take a close guess or a wild guess. They click and get it wrong. Click on link to text. That takes them right to the e-text. Open it up. It opens up into a little page here. They read the information they need to know on that topic. Then they can go back in and resubmit their answer. So I give them 2 chances to get it. So I call it immediate feedback learning. They learn the material, get a point, and move on. And then there's a grade book, and this is a very simple grade book right here, which just gives their name and how they're progressing through the different questions. So this person got 11 out of 12, 100% in the reading, that sort of thing. This one hasn't done anything yet. Grade books now are actually progressing to a point where not only does it show you how you've done, how you've scored and all these things, but it'll actually build you a review based on how well you've done or how not well you've done a particular topic. So grade books are really getting adaptive to the student needs. So this is really something I really, really like. And I got something to show you in a minute about that sort of thing. So cheating does take place. And Oh, sorry, I thought I turned this thing off. No. I the students that take my course, the online course. Most of them are on campus, can't get in, and the ones that are at distance, I don't have a problem with. Yeah, but and especially students and residents, I could probably talk for a half hour or an hour just on how to do assessments online. And I didn't want to do that today. I'd be willing to come back and do it some other time if you want. Basically, I accept it. If students want to cheat, they're going to do it. And I have what's called an online exam policy. I send out to all of them. If they're caught cheating, they get expelled from the university. The integrity is important. That's all kind of thing. We're trying to teach that and build on that sort of thing. So I know. And I've tried. I mean, I've done online. I've had my exams in-house, where they sit in a lecture theater, they're doing a bubble sheet, and you can see down 2, you can see over 2. So again, again, if students are going to want to cheat, they're going to find a way to cheat. So that's all I have to say about that, really. Okay, where do we go next? Okay, so what's the feedback on this sort of thing? So it's a logical extension to lecture material. It's the wealth of information, the exercise, animations, quiz questions. There's actually a program in there where they can identify the learner types. So some of them, it's broken down. You can break down the types of assessments into doers and seers and audio learners, that sort of thing. So that the Whily Plus provides that. It's a good enrichment for the course, for an in-house course as well as distance courses. The immediate feedback I really buy into, and the classes seem to do well. So my marks have gone up by 5 to 8% over students that haven't used Whily Plus. It's not just for anatomy, so this just gives you an idea that, and again, I'm not trying to sell the Whily product. I think most texts now that have e-texts will have online resources, and so you can pick your area if you're interested in looking at some of this stuff. So it's not just anatomy. My virtual thing I already talked about is cadaver dissection, lab review assignments, online exams. I'm not really overly, we're seemed to work for a while here now, and I'm seeing stuff out there that I like even better. So I'm thinking of either getting rid of this or changing it. So it's not as interactive as I'd like it to be. Just watching a video and then after you're done trying to fill in label diagrams and answer questions I think that's a little dry. There's tons of cadaver dissection out there, and there's new stuff, 3D and 4D cadaver dissection, but basically it's not directed. The students go in, they can bring up a specimen, they can shed off layers, they can spin it around, they can do cross-sections through it. But what they need is they need someone to take them through it. You have to say, I want you to find this muscle, I want you to find the origin insertion, I want you to know what it does. Just having the whole thing there without some kind of direction. Okay, so the blog, this is some of the social media blogs, wikis. Everybody should know what this is right now. But what really works here is that I can post a question in class, or I can do it online for my distance students. They go in, they go to websites to look up the information. Like a lot of students, like when I first started doing this, didn't know how to do a search. They didn't know how to search a topic. And they come to me and say, I'm really interested in doing this, but I don't know how to do it. I say, why does the brain have cross pathways? Just type in what I just asked you, and then then it all pops up, and there's millions of stuff to look at So getting students just to break break that window and go into that place where they haven't been, they love it. They come to me afterwards. They search everything now. They come to me with information. So it turns out that I'm one person in a class, in my in-house class, 185 students, trying to teach them what I know. But by doing this blog search thing, I now have 185 researchers out there bringing me information every year. So my course gets enriched from what they do, not from what I do. So it really works well. Asynchronous just means that they do it on their own time. Doesn't have to be immediately me doing it, sort of thing. So how effective is it? Sure, it's highly interactive. The students love it. They can work in groups or they can work individually. Students can become active learners where some of them are sort of the same with clickers and that kind of thing in class, right? Where students can be anonymous responders, sort of thing, if they want. I want them to be critical. I don't want them just to go in and find an answer and come back. I want them to look at several different answers and then sort of try to rationalize what they think is the best and make a case for it. Because in class we'll go over these things, and I give awards. I'll have what's called an anatomy draw. And I'll draw one name out of the pile and give them a can of tuna or something like that, or those little squeegee things you get from book companies. They love it. They just love it. The whole idea of a lottery. It's something to do with Nova Scotians, but everybody seems to like lotteries here. Anyway, so we do that in class. They have fun. And it exposes the students to a wide variety of learning resources. And that's not the sort of thing I'm trying to push down their throat. It's the things they find. They'll find videos or animations or different ways to present that material. And they just can't wait to get to class and tell me about it and show it to their peers. Okay, so that's all well and good.
Do you prompt them somehow? Like, do you put up a blog with questions, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, there's a question. There's always a question.
Okay.
Like, why does the heart? Why on the interesting thing on the right side of the heart there's a tricuspid valve, on the left side it's bicuspid. It's only got two little valves. And everybody has to learn that. When you learn heart anatomy, you have to know the name of the valves, you have to know the anatomy. But no one ever asks them why. Why does the heart have this 3 valves on one side, 2 on the other? I love these questions. The lymphatic system, there's a great big trunk on one side. It's called the lymphatic trunk. On the other side, it's a little skinny little thing. Why? Why is it asymmetrical? And I can go on and on and on like this. And the students not only are learning the facts, but all of a sudden they're sort of saying, yeah, why didn't I think of that? Why aren't I criticizing what I'm learning? Why do I have to learn this? What's important about it? And that's the hook that draws them in. And I just post these questions, and so they come back with tons of stuff. Okay, so I'm having a lot of fun with this. So I built a course with electronic text, cheaper. It's got online resources, so they can go in and look at animations depending on what type of learner they are. There's structure there that they have to do these assignments weekly, so they're learning stuff as well. Because if you just post it there, they're not just going to go look at it. Some of them will look at it, at the beginning of the class, they're all excited, but then they get all these other classes they're taking, so it's too much pressure and stress. So you have to have some structure, make them do it, and give them points for doing it. Then I have my lab, which is just part of the anatomy thing. The blog, which is kind of a social thing, and I'm going to get into more of that in just a second. I'm running out of time here. I'm going to go quick. Anyway, so now I'm going to change it all, because there's something new out here. I just I had a book rep in my office just last week. So this says something new. It's called a smart book. Okay, so everybody's heard of smartphones. So what's so smart about a smartphone? You can do email on it. You can do searches and stuff like this. But what's a smart book? Okay, so basically what this is, it's an adaptive book that's got an algorithm. Don't ask me what that is. It's some kind of computing power to work out all this information coming in. Anyway, so basically what it does is that it monitors the student's knowledge, and it does that based on whenever the student does something in it, the book, in order to do something, it asks them a question. Do you know it? Do you think you know it? Or do you not know it at all? There's several choices, and they have to be really honest when they click on that, and then they go in and read the material where they do. There's embedded questions all through the text. So it's not just reading text, and then you come to the end of the chapter, and there's your chapter review, and then there's your little quiz questions. This is all embedded in it. And there's, I don't know how much is it, there's probably animation stuff in there as well as all the quiz questions. Anyway, based on how long the student spends on that particular chapter, how their confidence level, if they think they can answer the questions based on what they learn, and how well they do on these questions, the smart book is tabulating a profile of the student as the student's working on it. And then what it eventually does, it identifies what the student knows and doesn't know. And this is my goal, is to try to teach the students to stop spending all your time studying what you know, and spend your time on studying what you don't know. So this book does it for you. And then it predicts when the student's going to forget. It actually predicts the length of their short-term memory. And it's got a button there on it's called recharge. Looks like a little battery charger. And what it does is you click on that, and it takes the student back to the stuff that they don't know well, so they can relearn it in preparation and stuff like this. So this is what a smart book is that it's actually able to adapt to the student's learning progress. And this is something I'm buying into. So I'm going to change my course starting in September, and we're going to go this route for 1 year and see how it works. And let me see what else have I got here. Oh yeah, here are some things here that. And McGraw-Hill. I mean, I don't use anything by McGraw-Hill. I've been a Whily person for 15 years. They send me all over the world talking about using Whily Plus, and I've got bad news for them for next fall. Anyway, so we're gonna try it. This is a little an article from Wall Street Journal about adaptive books. Okay, and Wiley's not the first, or McGraw-Hill's not the first to do it. Apparently, Pearson and Macmillan also have it. So again, I'm not just pushing the McGraw-Hill product. These are other little news articles on the smart books as well. So it's really, I think it's a thing of the future, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm experimenting again, and we're going to try something different. Okay, so let me finish up. I've gone 5 minutes over time. I've talked too much. So let's just summarize what we've done today. Interactive through online learning tools. Way to go. Flexible. This is the key to blended learning. Okay? It's no longer just face-to-face. They have to come at a certain time and sit in front of you and learn when you're ready to teach them. With online tools, it's any time when they're ready to learn. Some students are good at 6 o'clock in the morning. Some students are better at midnight studying. Anywhere. They can do this at home. Actually, my exams are all online. They do their exams at home. Or, unfortunately, in residence, they pull together. But even when they're pulling together, all my exams are, they come from like a blender, so every exam's different. So even if 2 students are sitting down to do the exams, they're learning as they do the exam because they're doing totally different questions each time they do it. It's fine with me. Any type. And this is, these online tools are geared to reach all types of learners, whether they're seers, doers, or whatever type of thing. So if it's that. Sociable. My online students are not on campus, but I make them feel like part of the campus thing because of the discussion board, because of the blog. I haven't used wikis yet, and the wikis are just different from a blog, is that they can go in and change what other students have put in. They can go in and build a whole complete product around a particular question. Haven't gotten that far yet. This discussion boards are really good. Students actually teach each other. And I get some of the questions. I can't stand emails. When's the exam? I mean, it's all in the syllabus, right? But you still get these emails. It takes up a lot of time going through this stuff. So they post it on the discussion board, and the other students tell them, hey, read the syllabus at this date. So they teach for me. Adaptive. And this is where the smart book comes in, right? The ability to make changes according to the rate of learning. This is something I think that's really cool. Really going to hopefully work well. And does it work? Yeah. My enrollment's gone up, if that speaks for it. Student satisfaction is really high. They hear about this, the word of mouth out in the university about this course. They come to me wanting to take this course. The feedback I get from them, just the personal one-to-one, they come to see me afterwards, saying, "I've heard a lot about your course. I really enjoy it. And these are online students that don't even get to see me. I'm loving your course. Come to the lectures, have fun." Enhanced learning, yeah. So it's rather than just studying from a book. Yeah, we have it all now. And instructor freedom. So I can do online courses, I can reach 450 students and still have another life.